Listen, in today's video, I'm gonna debunk the myth that you have to have all this time on your hands in order to invest in real estate, that you can't do it while working in corporate America, that you can't do it while being a small business owner. You can absolutely do it. And you know how I know? Because I've done it. I was fortunate to retire myself before the tender age of 35 from corporate America after being there for almost 12 years. And it was through real estate investing, right? And so part of my mission for this channel is to help other people that work in corporate America that have jobs, even up into senior management, to help medical practitioners who also trade a lot of time for money and other small business owners. The idea is to enlighten you guys, to help you take some practical steps to free yourself from those environments and get your time back, because I know that was certainly one of the pain points for me when I worked in corporate America, was missing out on my daughter's events and other life events. And while being a senior management and making great money, as most of you do, you still know that there's purpose that's unfulfilled. You still know that, it pains you that while financially you may be in a good position, but because you have to go and serve for 50, 60 hours a week in that capacity, it disallows you to have the time freedom that you could otherwise have. So I had to look for a way to have both the time freedom and make money, right? Because it's important. We still need to be able to take care of ourselves, our family, our lifestyles, and put away and build a legacy all at the same time, if that's important to you, right? So that's what we're gonna get into today. Do me a favor, click that subscribe button. Again, the purpose of this channel, right? Part of our mission is to bring you guys this type of content on a consistent basis. So I want you to subscribe so that you don't miss when these videos come out on a weekly basis, because it absolutely will change your life. I'm certain of it, because it's effectively done the same for me. And now I've been fortunate to help people all over the world build 6 and 7 figure businesses in 12 months, investing in real estate remotely while having a job or a business, and in effect, putting them in position to make the decision of whether or not they wanted to stay in those capacities, right? I think that's the biggest piece is, it's nothing wrong with working, and especially if you love what you do. But more often than not, you don't love what you do. You may love the compensation for what you do, but then even the love for the compensation gets diluted because you're constantly trading your time in order to do that. And so when you have the sting of those things that you're missing out on just for the sake of making a buck, when there's a better way to make a buck, or maybe an easier way to make a buck, then you probably should start looking in those areas. All right, so let's get into it. Our most successful students, okay, I'm not even going to use me in this example, because for many of you, you don't have 16 years of experience as I do. You don't own over 100 apartment units. You haven't done over 100 fix and flip and wholesale deals. So I don't want to compare my situation, although it's very synonymous, or was very synonymous with yours. I'd rather compare it to some of our students who are starting from a similar position as you and having success, okay? Now, they're putting in, on average, 10 to 12 hours a week. Okay, 10 to 12 hours a week of their business. When you really break that down, that's an hour and a half a day, right? So for many of you, like, oh my God, I don't have an hour and a half a day. You do something that's probably non-productive for an hour and a half a day, whether it's scroll social media, whether it's watch a show on Netflix. Look, I'm reading your mail. You're probably out hitting golf balls. Like, you got that time. It's just about what's most important. And then you will find how to allocate that time. Now, I should probably say this as a preface. It's important, in order to get the highest and best use out of that hour and a half, that you obviously know what you're doing, right? Practice don't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So many people don't have the time to go out and build a successful real estate business because they all over the place, right? So the thing that we really hone in on is systems and processes and methodologies to make your inputs predictable with the outputs, as well as just working more efficiently, right? So if you're working on the right things, your business, you can make certain inputs that will start to breed outputs without you having to rigorously work for those, right? So as an example, depending on what your schedule is, right? You could get up earlier in the morning and submit offers to your agent, because your agent should be providing you those properties for you to look at, or your wholesaler, whoever may be at the beginning of your pipeline for deal sourcing. You know how if you know how to effectively analyze and underwrite those deals, then you can go in and do that in the morning for, before you go to work. If you were fortunate enough to have an office space, as I did at work, I didn't always have that, right? For many years, I was on the floor working 12-hour shifts, but when I got into upper management, I had my own office to where it became easier for me just to do stuff from my laptop in between doing other stuff that I would do for my actual job, right? So depending on your situation and your setup, you can take advantage of doing some stuff before work. You can take some advantage of doing some stuff on your lunch break. You could take advantage of doing some stuff in your in-between time while at work. And then you certainly could take advantage of doing stuff in the evening. So and this is why it's so important, if you understand what your criteria, your buying criteria is, if you understand what your exit strategy is, right? So we teach fix and flip, wholesale, and cash flow just so that you can be a well-rounded investor. Don't mean that you need to focus on all three. As a matter of fact, most don't, but they at least have enough wherewithal to know how to use either one of those exit strategies. So every time they get a deal, they got opportunity to make money. And, I would say what's paramount is really getting clear on your goals, and that'll help to determine which exit strategy you should be using via fix and flip, wholesale, and cash flow. Now, the good news for you is, as I mentioned, I teach people all over the world how to do this remotely. So remote doesn't always mean it's 800 miles away, although it's practiced in that way quite frequently. It remotely could just be the fact that you're at work and your business is running in parallel without you having to physically be there to do it. Okay. And there's a whole methodology on how to put that together. You'll have to get that in the next video because I don't have enough time to expand on that here. But the point is that you can set your business up around your schedule. Okay. Now, will there be some inconvenience? Depending on what you find to be convenient, yes, it will be. Right. If, again, watching the favorite show on Netflix is a must do every day. If happy hour may be a must do. I don't know. Whatever your situation is, right? Oftentimes, we spend a lot of time and money outside of the workplace to make us forget and distract us from the fact that we got to be there so much. And so I know from being in that same environment that you got an hour and a half a day. It's just about how you reallocate it. Okay. So if you can learn, number one, what your buy box or your buying criteria is, and you can convey that clearly to your agent or the wholesaler, whoever, they'll be sending you deals. And then it's up to you to be able to underwrite and analyze those deals and then start submitting offers. Okay. And part of, again, our strategy of investing remotely is evaluating all of our deals online. So like oftentimes I own over 100 apartments, as I may have mentioned, in Detroit. I live here in Orlando. 90% of the deals that I buy, I don't see until after I purchase them in most cases, right? Because I can analyze them from the laptop. Same is true. We got students in Denmark that buy deals in the States that they've never been and seen, right? And same is true all throughout the country. Students in Cali that buy stuff in the Midwest, and the list goes on and on. The point is that through systems and processes and strategies and methodologies, you can, figure out how to do these things online, and you don't physically have to be there. And so if you can think about it, if you can go through and, number one, have the right deal sent to you. Number two, learn how to analyze those deals and come up with rehab costs pretty close to where the cost will be once the contractor goes out, because you understand the rehab numbers. And then you could determine, what your after repair value is, which is synonymous with your projected sales price, or in a situation where, you're going to rent the property, you can, analyze ROIs and things of that nature. Just think about it. I mean, if you can do that, think about how effective you can be in an hour and a half time per day. And that's cumulative, right? Some days it'd be more challenging than others, but our most successful students are putting in 10 to 12 hours a week. And, just depending on how lofty your goals are and how aggressive you want to be, then do the math. It's just more time, right? So for me, I worked in senior management, but I had an hour drive to work every day as well. And so you figure between giving them 50 hours a week, I would say 50 was a safe number. And then driving another hour back and forth. So, I mean, I was putting in 60 hours a week easily, right? Some form of commitment to that workplace. But here's the deal. I was putting in about 40 hours a week into my business. But I had big vision, and I'm aggressive by nature, right? I like to say I'm conservatively aggressive. And so I knew I wanted to leave that place, and I did everything possible to do that. And it took a while to work up to that point, but it just depends on how big the appetite is, right? But most would freak out when they hear that and say, well, you working 60 hours and you working on your business 40 hours. What's 168 hours in a week, right? So yeah, it was some sleep involved, and it still was some time to take care of my health and get a workout in, and time to spend with the family, which I won't lie was very little, but that's what I mean. It was a means to an end. And now I got a ton of time back to spend and pour in and love on them the way in which I want to. And, I'll leave y'all with this other piece, right? We can't, if you have a spouse, okay, and oftentimes, especially if you're a high income earner, maybe your spouse doesn't work, they're home with the kids or what have you. Working in corporate America, or even being a business owner, sometimes can have you very silo oriented, right? To where you just you got tunnel vision about those things that you got to do. You forget that your better half can complement you in other ways other than just the ancillary stuff that you don't really care to do or don't have time to cook, clean, all those types of things, right? So if you have a partner, a spouse, and you're able to bridge the gap between the unknown and the known, meaning go out and actually get some education. Like, everybody should make an investment in themselves and really learn how to do this the right way, right? Instead of just fumbling around, putting money at risk that you already had to work so hard for. Absolutely, there's inherent risk to anything that you do, but things are less risky the more competent that you are about them, right? And so the biggest risk is not taking any at all. And the second biggest risk is letting somebody else invest all your money in a 401k or otherwise for your retirement, which is the most important time in your life. That's a whole nother story for another day. The point is that we underestimate and we undervalue relationship, marriage, as not being a partnership. It's a partnership, right? And in any partnership, you need to leverage your partner. In any business dealing and use a partnership, you should leverage your partner. The point is, your spouse can be complimenting you, and we see it all the time inside of our program, where one spouse may not work, whereas the other one does. They both get the information and they leverage each other to where one can be doing a lot more of the groundwork while the other one is more high level, and then that switches off in tandem, whatever. The point is, you got all type of opportunity, all type of options, and it doesn't take a tremendous amount of time commitment, but it does take efficient and effective time commitment, right? So first, you just got to make the decision, and then eliminate the distractions, go get all the help that you need, and go out and build the life that you want instead of settling for the one that you have. All right, if you like this video, all I ask is that you share it, comment. I love to hear your thoughts. If I can help in any way, I'm here to do so, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.